Games. We are not playing games. We are arguably playing games. We are... Wait, actually, I'm going to... How do I cover the... I don't know how to do anything with this app. Here we go. Display capture off for a sec, just because I want to log into something. And I don't want all you guys knowing how I log into stuff. We're doing some coding today. Which is sorry, I just let me turn camera back on. Not camera, screen capture. No, that's oh, I'm just trying to change what's on the front page of my thing. Organised showcase. So, no. How do I... Let's take these out of my showcase. Let's leave only things that deserve to be there. Not sure very much does deserve to be there. I can't get rid of anything. I want... Is it working? Oh, you never know what works on these things. Here we go. So, I'm writing a galaxy simulation. So I'm going to start off with this code, which I want to look at another way around, which isn't perfect. I'm not that experienced in JavaScript. This is from a project I did a few years ago, 2017, and I'm just going to play around with this for a bit, because it's cool. Let's have more particles. I reckon this computer can take it. Where's the number of particles? Here we go. 4 times more particles. That is more particles than my computer wants to deal with. Let's go back down. Interesting, that really, that puts it over the edge. So we are not playing Hearthstone, which is what Twitch currently says we're playing. We are coding. I don't know what category that goes under. Science and technology? It is, basically. Let's add some tags, let's really... I don't know what are common tags for programming. It is arguably web development. I'm going to call it game development too. Why not? There we go. So, no, it really... 2 to the 14 is what it can deal with. So this isn't a particularly well optimized simulation. What we're seeing here is a bunch of particles that are initially on circular orbits around one big point mass. So all of these particles going around don't care about or even see the gravity of this central one. I'm just realising that this might not be the best performing version of this. So let's just see if it performs any better, the online version. No, I've changed some things to make it work better. So I'm going to click this and it's going to drop the mass. I'm actually going to do 2 clicks. So that's dropped the mass by 10% and 10%. It's actually about 21%. And you see that everything starts moving outwards. And that's because it's just less bound. It's going around a less massive object. So it's initially everything is on an eccentric orbit. Started on a circular orbit, and then we just magically took away some mass. And this isn't unphysical. This is, for example, you can't magically get rid of mass, but you can sometimes get rid of mass much faster than the time scale on which things orbit. So, for example, when black holes merge and they emit some of their mass in gravitational waves, they emit that energy from that mass mass annihilation event is emitted as a gravitational wave at the speed of light. And as far as something orbiting this thing, even relatively close by, cares, it feels like there's been a huge mass loss instantly. The orbits don't have time to react. I kind of hope this would be a bit quicker. Oh well. And then you start to get, if anyone ever wants to come back and play with this, go for it. You can find it on my webpage. You start to get these shells moving outwards. Now, I'm actually going to pause it. In fact, I'm going to leave it going, but I'm going to make life easier on my computer. I'm going to slow it down, and I'm going to decrease the number of particles by another factor of 2. Actually, yeah, let's just do it this way. And I'll just leave that going while I create another one. Can I do a cool side? No. Side. What if I do side? Old-fashioned way then. That'll do. Honestly, some days, every day, I hate computers. Stop being full screen. Okay. This really wants to be full screen. Let's change the view so that, I guess at the top. No. Close enough. Okay. So I've got to remind myself how to do a bunch of these things. So this is going to be slow. So I just wanted to have something going on here. So let's just set that going. So let's drop the mass by 10%. We'll start to see how it happens. I want D3 added. That's the most recent version. So it's got D3. So I don't need to do these script imports. Honestly, I haven't used JavaScript in a while. And I've got to kind of remind myself what all this code is doing. So let's just stick this in first. The CSS, it's just choosing the font and stuff. And actually then, let's get rid of it. Don't need to look at that for a while. JavaScript is where most of the code is happening. Just trying to work out if there's anything I need from the HTML. I don't think so. I think the JavaScript, there's an easy way to find out. I think the JavaScript creates the no, it doesn't create the SVG itself. I'm going to rewrite JavaScript basically from scratch, but yeah, it's not just the need in HTML. It wants div to div. This is not well written code. Interesting. Do I need the call to body? I really feel like that should be an end body there. Oops. In case anyone was enjoying the simulation, it just restarted, as it will every time I code something wrong. You know, nice to have that. Okay, so let's restart that. This one isn't working. Interesting. Okay, interesting. So something's probably changed about D3. Let's look at it in this one. I don't want this to run. Let's pause it. Did I set that going? We'll see. So I taught myself D3 a while back. And I'm no longer sure that I'm doing it in the cleverest way, basically. I want to explore various ways to do it. I wanted to start with this simulation up on one side because it's just someone doing the examples. Because it's really useful to have a piece of working code to compare to. I also wonder, I've looked at this a few times. I want this. Yeah. Let me just turn off the screen for a sec again. I'm probably overcautious about this. You know, you just never know. I think... Send me an email. I have a vague plan for fixing the just complete tyranny of having to log into everything. May as well talk about it while I'm doing this. Someone can steal it and make a bunch of money, and then it'd be nice if you gave me a little bit. Actually, it's probably too long to do that. So, let's turn this back on. So this is all about trying to work out the best ways just to be communicating things, to be to be putting a code into the world in a way that's useful and usable and relevant. So, I'm interested in how one like this works. There's also concerns about, like, I'm just going to open a window, about will it stay, how long will it keep working, how generalizable is it? Oh, my music's coming from there? No, let's not have that. There we go. I was wondering why everything was coming out the right-hand speaker. So, add a cell. Can I just... So that's what's in there. I'm wondering if I have to do anything to this notebook, or if it will just work with D3. Runtime error drag is not defined. Interesting. Yes. Agreed. Runtime error D3 is not defined. So, how does Mike get D3 into here? This really seems backwards. So, at the beginning, let's get D3 in there. Let's make the simulation. Data is not defined. That's to be expected. We skip that step. Let's just make sure everything in this notebook's here, and then I think I'm going to start by just taking some stuff out. Syntax error, unexpected token. No, it really is an unexpected token. Doesn't like that. Does it only want one thing per cell? Well, now the simulation does work. So, it's down here. This is a draggable which characters in Les Mis are in scenes with each other. Which is, at least in the D3 world, a relatively standard thing to visualize. And because it's D3, it's got all kinds of nice forces going on. Great. So let's look at what we've got here. I'm sure the height is being used, but it's not really needed, is it? How do we use height? Width. What? Why would we set height and not width? Height. Width we just set. So if we don't set height, if we delete that cell, and if we reload the page, let's hope it's saved. Hey! Oh, copy paste everything, man. No. So, I like JavaScript, I really like D3, but some things about it are weird. Apparently height must be defined, but width, it can just work out for itself. There we go. This might be a really big difference between people who feel like coders for a living and scientists who do a lot of coding. I will just take code wherever I can find it and try and make it work. See how that's doing. Oh, that's going well. So, I'm kind of just deciding how to approach this problem first at the moment. I'm trying to make a simulation for a project that I'm working on, and I haven't used this language in a while, so I'm just trying to remember how it all works, really. I'm trying to work out where I want to be building it. Yeah, exactly. Have you ever used any of these things, like D3? I don't know how general it is using them. I know that people in journalism use them a bit. It's rare for scientists to use them, and honestly I find the style kind of weird. I mostly code in Python, and learnt to code in C. And I like JavaScript a lot. JavaScript, and lots of people seem to hate JavaScript for some reason, but I just think it's a really nicely structured language. It's kind of C without all of the overhead. I have not used PHP. Is there a particular reason why you would use PHP for something? Like, because I know people like it. Is it web development people use it for? Now, interestingly, in this code, this is just some like boss.code, everything's defined as const, not var. Does it still work? Yes. Okay. So it seems like every cell is a variable. JavaScript and Python are a bit more relaxed. It's horrible and can read and write to text documents. Interesting. Is this what I mean? Observables? No. How is that, for example, not like, why would you choose that? Oh, here we go, let's find out why observable isn't JavaScript. Why would you use that instead of something like Python? I realise that we pick these up as we go. Each cell is a separate script that runs independently. Local variables are only visible in the cell that defines them. Cells run in any order, but circular definitions aren't allowed. Right, let's just jump in. We're going to want a chart. We're going to want it to have yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Why would you use PHP over Python? There's not an attack on PHP. I don't really know other programming languages. Like, I just use the one that I know. Can I define functions in here? Is it happy with that? New particle is not defined. x0 is not defined. I'm just going to end up copying and pasting my entire code into this thing, and then oops, going to do a nice E. Now H isn't defined. Oh man, that level of complexity, it just... What I have wanted ever since I first started programming is just the quickest, simplest get to something that you can see and play around with. Oh, not wait. Okay, that's now working. I have very briefly thought about it. I was saying earlier today, I was streaming and I was talking about a YouTube video I watched from the guy who wrote Erlang, and it wasn't very much about making Erlang or why he made Erlang. It was about just the current level of complexity of understanding and using other people's codes and how that's kind of gone crazy. Okay, so that's the central circle, I think. Wrote this a long time ago. And I don't need the shells to do anything because I'm not involved in the shells yet. I think if I try and rerun the cell now, it'll be completely broken because it's trying to do two things at once. Unexpected end of input because of a double. Okay, I've missed something. To constant variable dt. H is still being used somewhere. N rings. I don't even know what that does. Have I used Lua? No, I haven't. Should I? Maybe I should be. Let's just get rid of this whole thing. Probably isn't important. Not that much. Still some W not defined. svg.select all as no function. Where's that being done? So I'm not sure, and I deleted the code for it. Tell you what, let's put this back in. Okay, so in this code they do create an SVG. So I should probably be doing the same. That could be chart 2. So that one should just work. Chart equals undefined. Well, that's progress. What do you ask about Lua? Width, height equals height. chart's still undefined, fair enough. At the end of this, we have return svg.node. Chart equals null. You know, that's on its way. I'll just return the SVG. Oh, look, that's almost a thing. Interesting. So, the whole world of Minecraft modding isn't one that I really know, but it's one that I kind of like to, because I think there must be so much cool creativity going on in there. And depending on how easy it is, like being able to just step into a simulation and start modding things in it is really cool. Timer isn't defined. Probably true. Do you do any active Minecraft modding, or just, not to make it sound like less, or just playing mods? Okay, let's try and have a bit of a better idea of what's going on here. They add a view box. Yeah, actually, let's just copy how they define their SVG here. Comment is double backslash in JavaScript. And then they return svg.load. Ooh, I made a thing with a tiny thing in the corner. Oh, I don't know if I really believe that anyone does or does not have artistic skills. You just start playing with stuff, basically. Okay, so that tiny thing in the corner might be my simulation. It is so easy to spend forever waiting to start making things. Like, I've been planning to learn this language for years now, and I managed to persuade my advisors that we should look at the simulations we're looking at in a web browser that we'll be able to see more. And so finally I kind of got an excuse to. I'm going to set this running again. And that's good because it's encouraging me to actually do something with it. I think it won't like having two, yeah. I really have to have only one thing per cell. Okay, so actually it might just be initializing everything in that corner. Let's just try making this smaller and see if it has an effect. Whoa, there's a thing there. Hey, we've kind of got something doing a thing. It looks like all the particles are up here. Can I make things smaller still, meaningfully? That didn't seem to affect anything. But okay, we're displaying something. And it is where I would expect it to be. Don't know why I reloaded the page. Old habits. So this is this. Oh, and in doing so, we really messed that one up, so let's put this back on. 600, 600. Okay, that refixed that. Guessing that's the offset for the corners. It's fine. Where it is. So this is what's setting the position of this middle thing. I think going for pixel art's a great idea. Like, I actually think, I think back on to jump out of this for a sec. I think back on like Game Boy Advance games and something like, actually let's go for Advance Wars. Just into like this, it still looks fantastic. There's a kind of it ages so well. Apparently this is someone's mod or something. The same with like it's the Fire Emblem on GBA. And good pixel art takes time. It is not easy in itself. But even just kind of like with good colour choices. Oh, no, not typing. Even something like this I actually think looks great. Like going simple, going blocky, going, I don't know if you know this website, coolers.co.